Hey, everybody, welcome to another edition of the Coaches Show here remotely from my basement. Rob Strauss alongside head football coach Dan Harris, Tad Kozaneski, Justin Maroney going to join us in a little bit. Coach, thanks for joining us.
Yep, thanks for having me.
Coach, big win against Gloucester, overtime thriller that you guys had. Tell us a little bit about the game, and you guys fell in a little bit of a hole early, but, you guys got your first win of the season.
Yeah, it was the hole you talk about was just a little bit of the same little things, making a couple mistakes here and there, just executing. But we luckily we rebounded and had some good plays and did some good things later on in the game.
Early on in the first quarter, Nelson ripped off a 30-yard touchdown run, put you guys down 7-0 early. But I think one of the biggest parts of that first half, Coach, was the defense and how the defense really stepped up in that second and towards the end of the second quarter as well as the second half.
Yeah, not to make excuse for the kids, but the day before we're practicing in the gym, and the big issue we had was the inside linebackers were lining up too close to the line of scrimmage, and that was part of the reason we our angles and our pursuit getting to the ball was poor for that big long run. So we made some adjustments. The kids made some adjustments. I think we did what we normally do. We feel the team out, and then we adjusted.
Two big plays on defense that you guys had. David Barber and Mayhew as well had some really big plays. David Barber, great game on both sides of the ball for you guys last Friday night.
Yeah, Dave stepped up. Kind of been waiting for that as a senior. We want seniors to step up, and he did a great job for us.
One of the big parts of the game, and I think I can speak for everybody that was helping to broadcast the game, was the emergence of Yoel Rodriguez. Had a phenomenal night for you guys. Do you think it was a lot of it because the attention was given to Valeriano, or is this just kind of his time to shine?
It was a little bit of, again, we've been waiting for some seniors to step up, and some of the coaches, position coaches, coordinators were pretty rough on the previous games. We're hard on them, and I think it's starting to show in practice, and then it finally got to show on the field, and he stepped up and responded to some coaches calling him out, and he had a nice game. Hopefully he keeps doing that.
He had a great 15-yard touchdown catch, which I'm sure we're viewing right now. He just really kind of came out of nowhere. Usually he was used as a third option for you guys out there, as most of the attention for the first 4 or 5 games of the season going to Christian Valeriano. Tell us about how he was looking in practice coming into the week.
Well, it's really on the quarterback to make the right reads with the coverages. Like I said, the coaches were hard on some of the position groups, specifically the receivers. Guys, there's a trust issue sometimes with the quarterback, guys not being running the right routes and being in the right spots. And I kind of got on the quarterback at halftime, telling him just throw the ball, trust that they're going to be there. If they're in the wrong spot, we'll address them. So, he was running good routes. That touchdown route was one of the better routes he's run all season. Speaking
of your quarterback, Jeremiah Thompson had a phenomenal game, especially this great throw and catch to Christian Valeriano, the one-handed catch in the back of the end zone. We didn't think it was complete. What were your thoughts on that? That was Sports Center quality.
Yeah, well, he made a big play, but again, that was not the right route, not what we were trying to do. But he made a nice play on the ball, so I guess we'll take it. But as we try to improve, hopefully he starts running the right routes. But he made a play.
Well, Coach, one of the plays that actually set up that position for the touchdown was Jeremiah Thompson connecting to Blackney. With that little spin move he gave and really got everybody energized, both, I'm sure, on the sideline as well as you could hear the oohs and the ahs from the limited crowd and even in the press box up from us.
Yeah, we've been kind of waiting. His quickness has been something we've seen at practice. He was a transfer, so he's had to sit. But we've seen it at practice. We've kind of just been waiting to see it on the game field. And he made some nice plays for us.
The lead was short-lived for you guys, unfortunately. And then they had a couple featured backs, which I know Mr. K did a couple highlight packages on. His father, who actually Burkhardt, who actually played for Gloucester, was a heck of a player for them as well. And I know that's one of the guys came into the game with over 500 yards rushing on the game. You guys did a great job containing him up until that point. probably 2 or 3 plays later, rips off the 45-yard touchdown reception and then kind of silences everybody.
Yeah, well, it was just I don't put I don't want to downplay any, but what the other guys do, the other team, we know they have good players, but we made mistakes. We got to get that first down on the 3rd and 1, and then we have a blocked punt where the whole special team was poor. The front line's not blocking, and the punters, he's too close to the line. I don't know why he's lined up so close. There was just a trickle down effect, and then we had a blown coverage. He was just running free on a blown coverage. So yeah, again, it was like crunch time. We wanted to see guys step up and compete a little bit better and lock in and do their job, and it was just a trickle effect of 4 plays in a row that we just made. It was mistake after mistake, and it killed us.
And it's part of it is, special teams is such a big part of really any game. It's hard enough to get 1 blocked punt in a game, but somehow Gloucester got their hands on 2, especially that one late in the game. Talk a little bit about the special teams.
Well, again, it's just an emphasis, and again, you can't make excuses because everybody's dealing with the same thing, but shortened time with practice time over the course of the summer and fall. And then the concept, we're putting in new guys, we're putting in young guys, where there's injuries or problems during the game with little things, and you're throwing a guy out there and they make a mistake, and then we're scrambling a little bit, but it's no excuse. Just the effort was very poor on that. We did the quarterback. Well, our punter is the quarterback, but he stepped back a little bit, but again, not deep enough. And that was, again, it was just a mistake, and it killed us. And it's not acceptable for us to have all those mistakes. It was frustrating.
Good news is the defense bailed you out again. And Jameer Richardson bailed you guys out with a beautiful pick six, read the screen perfectly, and took it to the house for the touchdown. Really unbelievable turnaround. It's kind of like the ebb and the flow of this game was crazy. It was kind of quiet in that first half, and then the second half, everything really ramped up, highlighted by that pick six.
Yeah, it was a great play by him, and that was something addressing the team at halftime was just guys got to do their job, just do the simple things right, and big things happen, and Jameer was able to do that. Made a great play. Great effort, too, at the end of the play to get in the end zone.
So Sterling D comes up huge. Obviously, we go to the overtime. Sterling controls the ball first. They go out on offense. 3 plays, 3 scores, or 1 score. You get 3 plays, you get the score and the 2-point conversion to go with it. Really, you started at the 25, just went right in, just plowed right in, made it look easy.
Yeah, it was just good execution, decision-making by the quarterback and receivers running good routes. It was just I guess it was good that we were on a shortened field. The overtime is both teams have the equal thing, but luckily I guess special teams were taken out of it, so that helped us. I guess I don't know, but the offense played well and the defense made some plays as well.
And we had Trey Potts up in the booth with us, and he mentioned he had talked a lot about the defense and the importance of the defense. Something that where I think this is probably the best defensive game we've seen this team play all season, and they forced the oft overlooked 4 and out to send everybody home. And with you guys with your first victory of the season, talk about that defensive stand. 4 plays, all they had to do is make 4 plays and come out with a W. Yeah,
I think just the game not necessarily slowing down, but the freshmen that we have out there. I mean, we're starting 3 freshmen on defense. The game was slowing down a little bit for them as far as doing their job and seeing the little things, and just being in the right spot. The defensive line turned it up a little bit. Our defensive ends played well, which we've been kind of expecting. I kind of expected those 2 guys as starters, and Jameer being getting a lot of reps last season, starting and role play a lot of last year, being the guys on the defense, at least the 2 guys, and they finally stepped up, and I was proud of them for that.
2014 is the final. You guys get your first win of the season. Before we look ahead to the Paulsboro question, as always, we like to focus on some of the student-based questions. I'll turn it over to Justin Maroney, who joined us here from our sports broadcasting class. He has some questions from some of the fans that we were going to bring into the studio, but we got their questions in a little bit early. I'll turn it over to Justin. Justin, you got a couple questions for Coach.
Yeah, what's up, Coach? How are you? This question
So
from Jen. She asks, do you think Jeremiah Thompson's good at calling plays?
good at calling his own plays.
Yeah, like you giving him the plays and like reacting to it and trying to change it up on the fly.
Yes and no. There's been time. I don't know how to answer that because we're still giving him the plays. He's adjusting. Sometimes he's switching things, but it's been a slow process. But he's still taking in everything as far as running the offense. So he's improved, drastically improved. Yes. So I guess
This one comes out from Haley Watson. She asks, after the big win against Gloucester, what would you say is the biggest thing you guys have to work on for next week?
Consistency, staying consistent in all phases of the game, and executing just the little assignments. Just improving.
This one's from Henry Kern. He asks, how do you build a good performance you had against Gloucester? How to build another good performance against Paulsboro?
Just keep it simple, execute, and everybody just do their job and do it with energy.
All right, Tank, we'll actually hold up for your last question. I want to bring in Mr. K into the fold here as we look ahead to the Paulsboro game, a Saturday 11 a.m. kickoff on the road. Never an easy place to play, Tad. We've been there several times before. And our experience with Paulsboro usually have a lot of really good athletes. A tough place to play.
Very tough place to play. Always a solid team. Coach, before I even get into the game with you, there's a COVID issue going around the school right now. I know my son's affected. A lot of the upperclassmen were affected. Do you know how many players you're going to be affected by even going into this game?
Yeah, we have, I guess you would say, three two-way starters out.
So that's like missing 6 players altogether.
Correct.
All right, so right there's an uphill battle to start. The next thing is you look at the numbers. First of all, in general, the history of being around this area, when you hear the word West Deptford or Paulsboro, the kids always react differently in practice week. How do you think practice week has gone, knowing that they have Paulsboro sitting there on Saturday?
I don't think it was necessarily. I don't think it was necessarily the fact we're playing Paulsboro, but Tuesday I thought was with the weather and we weren't in school and the kids came in a little relaxed. It wasn't necessarily, I didn't hear anything about Paulsboro, but we were relaxed and didn't have our best practice. So I kind of challenged them. Hopefully we step up today.
And you're going to face a Paulsboro team that is 4-0. In your opinion, it looks like we played Heights on our schedule. They're undefeated. On paper and based on what you've seen, is Paulsboro the best team that you've faced thus far or going to face?
Yeah, defensively, they're by far the best defensive team we're going to see this season.
When we watch them play on defense, what are some numbers and some things we're going to look for?
I don't focus. The defensive ends are really good players. Obviously, we know Tootin's a really good player, running back and safety corner, and he plays both spots. They're tough, and their D tackles, they're pretty tough up front too. So it's just mainly their front. Does a great job. They're just good players.
How do you motivate your frontline offense then, knowing that they're really going to have their hands full this week?
Well, it's kind of been the theme all year is this is opportunity. I mean, we got freshmen, we got new players up there. This is opportunity. You mentioned the COVID issue. Not everybody gets to play football this weekend. There's still schools. I know Cherokee and Lenape had their game canceled. So you get an opportunity to play. Just, go out and do everything. There's really no pressure. There's nothing other than the opportunity to play, make the most of it. That's really been the theme all year.
The history of myself broadcasting games as Paulsboro is they have a varied attack. They're very strong running. They'll throw it a little bit. Can you give me a categorize of what type of team they are when we watch them with the ball?
Yeah, they're not necessarily once in a while big play throwing the ball, but kind of short passes, some screens, and then they run the ball. We know Tootin, he was the difference last year when we played them. He scored 3 touchdowns against us, an early big run, and the kickoff return in the second half really set us back. So, we know he's a difference maker, and hopefully we show up. We know what we have to do. We know we have to stop it. They're not going to hide it. Nobody in the stadium is going to know think otherwise. Everybody knows what we have to do.
Last question from me. Sterling, normally a Friday night team. Talk from the coaching staff what you're going through for getting kids for a Saturday 11 o'clock in the morning game means an early wake up time, and how does that work for you guys? You already had the Heights game this year, which was the same time. How do the kids react to not being Friday, playing on a Saturday?
Well, hopefully having an early Friday practice, we'll get that mindset. Just doing the right thing, going to bed early, getting a good night's sleep. I don't fully buy in, other than saying the team's a morning team, night team, other than if it's routine for you as a team. If you're typically a night team, Friday night team, and then you play one Saturday game, you could probably see a difference because you're not used to practicing or playing in the morning. So that's a difference where they're used to playing their home games on Saturday. So it's routine for them. It's not necessarily you're that type of team or this type of team. It's just your routine you're used to.
All right, I'm going to hand off to Justin now. He has a question for you.
How does this win against Gloucester get your team feeling ready for next week?
How do we feel?
Yeah, I know first win, younger team. I mean,
yeah, it was. I feel like hopefully they understand not to be satisfied. I think that's the big thing is I feel like we took a step back a little bit at practice as far as the energy goes, because we were like, okay, we won a game. And that's not acceptable. We got to show up this week as well. We got 4 more games to play.
Coach, thanks again. I know this is kind of a weird setup here. We're not in the comfy confines of Mr. K's studio, so I appreciate you taking some time out. Obviously, Paulsboro coming up. Delran also on the schedule as well. A Thanksgiving Eve game, which will be a lot of fun at Delran, which should be pretty cool. We'll have more of the updates as to what other games are going to be added. Do you have any idea when they're going to make that call in terms of when they're going to add? I
really had no idea. I believe Derek Sellers was on a broadcast and may have mentioned that. I don't know. But my understanding of what I've been told is it's going to be really the priorities, the geography, how close the schools are, and then, matching up between size and record after that. So I think the big emphasis, though, is distance from your school. I guess it's just like the presidential election right now. It's just kind of a wait and see kind of thing. Yep. We're all kind of in a holding pattern at this point. But, Coach, thank you again for taking the time out of this I almost said Thursday on teacher convention weekend, taking some time out and join us on the Coach's Show. Thank you. Thanks for having me. All right, Coach. Thank you again. Thanks again to Justin Maroney from our sports broadcasting class. Give us a follow on Twitter. You'll see at the very beginning and very end. You can follow us on Twitter. And Mr. K, the producer of Channel 19, always does such a great job in the truck. He never gets a chance to join us, but he will join us on Saturday's broadcast. So make sure you stay tuned for that. For Mr. Coach Harris, whichever he prefers. Coach Harris, Justin Maroney, Mr. K, I'm Rob Strauss. We'll see you next time on the Coach's Corner. Good luck.